Listen carefully. This is not noise, this is not coincidence, and this is not for everyone. In this very moment, while countless voices compete for your attention, God is whispering something so precise, so personal, that only you can understand it. Others may hear the sound, but you alone carry the meaning. Others may sense a stirring, but you alone recognize the direction. It's not because you are better than anyone else, but because God has been preparing your heart quietly, patiently, faithfully, until it became sensitive enough to receive what is now being revealed. There are seasons when God speaks loudly through events, through shaking, through visible change, but there are also sacred moments when God speaks in a way that bypasses the crowd and enters the depths of a single soul. This is one of those moments. If you feel a weight in your spirit, if you feel a pull you cannot explain, if something within you is saying, this is for me, then understand that God is not addressing the world right now. God is addressing you. When God shares a secret, it is never to confuse you, never to impress you, but to prepare you for responsibility, for transformation, and for alignment with a higher purpose. Many people are desperate for signs, but God is looking for sensitivity. Many want confirmation, but God is cultivating conviction. The secret God is revealing is not wrapped in spectacle. It is wrapped in trust. It does not shout, it resonates. It does not force, it invites. God knows that if this message were given to everyone, many would misunderstand it, misuse it, or ignore it. But you have been shaped by waiting, refined by disappointment, and strengthened by questions that never fully left your heart. That is why this message is finding you now. You may have wondered why certain paths closed without explanation, why certain relationships faded without closure, why certain prayers seemed unanswered even though you were sincere. What you did not realize was that God was protecting the secret by removing distractions. God was preserving clarity by limiting noise. God was guarding direction by restricting access. When God entrusts a secret, God first creates space for it to be received. Silence is not absence, silence is preparation. There are truths that cannot be spoken until the listener is ready to live them. God does not waste revelation. God does not reveal without intention. If this message has reached you, it is because something in your life is about to shift, not suddenly, not magically, but decisively. God is not calling you to excitement. God is calling you to alignment. The secret is not about what you will gain, but about who you must become to carry what is coming. Inside you, there has always been a quiet awareness that you are not designed for small living, not loud living, not arrogant living, but purposeful living. You have tried to silence that awareness at times, telling yourself to be realistic, to be cautious, to settle for what is safe. Yet the awareness never left. That is because God placed it there. It is the echo of the secret that was planted in you long before you had language for it. God is telling you that the season of hesitation is ending, not because you have all the answers, but because obedience does not require full understanding. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move despite it. The secret God is revealing is that the very uncertainty you are afraid of is the doorway God intends to use. What you perceive as weakness is the space where divine strength is activated. You have spent years watching others move forward while you felt delayed. You questioned whether you missed your moment, whether you misunderstood your calling, whether you were simply not chosen. But God is telling you now that delay is not denial when purpose is involved. Timing is not punishment. Timing is precision. God was not holding you back. God was holding you together. The secret is this: God has been shaping you in hidden places, because what you are called to carry cannot be sustained by shallow roots. Visibility without depth destroys. Influence without character collapses. God chose depth for you even when you begged for speed. That is why your growth felt slow, why your progress felt invisible, why your victories were internal long before they were external. There are people who will never understand your journey because they did not walk your path. God is telling you not to seek validation from those who were not present in your refining. When God speaks a secret, it is not meant to be debated, it is meant to be embodied. Not everyone needs to know what God is doing with you. Some things lose their power when spoken too early. You may feel alone in this moment, but you are not isolated. There is a difference. Isolation is separation without purpose. Solitude is separation with intention. God often speaks secrets in solitude, because that is where distractions fall silent and truth becomes audible. The voice you are hearing is not new, it is familiar. It has guided you before. It has warned you before. It has comforted you before. You simply hear it more clearly now because you are ready to respond. God is telling you that obedience will require courage, not applause. There will be moments when choosing the right path will feel like choosing the lonely path. But understand this, alignment with God will always feel lonely before it feels powerful. The secret is not that life will become easier. The secret is that life will become clearer. And clarity is more valuable than comfort. You have carried questions about your worth, your timing, your capability. God is answering those questions, not with explanations, but with instruction. Move, trust, release, prepare. The secret is action-oriented. Revelation without response becomes frustration. God is not revealing this to make you feel special. God is revealing this to make you responsible. There is something God has placed within you that has been dormant, waiting for permission to awaken. You have been waiting for confidence, but God has been waiting for consent. The secret is that confidence is not the prerequisite. Obedience is. Confidence follows movement. Strength follows as surrender. Clarity follows commitment. God is telling you to stop measuring your life by visible results and start measuring it by internal alignment. Success without peace is not success. Progress without purpose is not progress. The secret God is sharing is that fulfillment is not found in arrival, but in agreement with divine direction. When your will aligns with God's will, even ordinary steps become sacred. You may be tempted to rush this process now that you sense its importance. Resist that temptation. Urgency does not mean haste. God's timing is not driven by pressure. It is guided by wisdom. The secret requires patience because what is being built must last longer than your current excitement. There will be resistance, not because you are wrong, but because growth always challenges what is comfortable. Even within yourself, old habits will protest. Old fears will speak loudly. Old identities will demand attention. God is telling you not to negotiate with what no longer serves your purpose. The secret is not compatible with your former self. You are not being called to abandon who you are, but to outgrow who you were. God honors your past, but God is not bound by it. What you have been through was preparation, not definition. The secret is that your history explains your strength, not your limitation. God is inviting you into a deeper level of trust. Trust that does not depend on visible assurance. This kind of trust is quiet, steady, and resilient. It does not panic when outcomes are unclear. It does not retreat when results are delayed. It stands because it knows who it is aligned with. You may feel a sense of responsibility settling over you as you hear this. That is appropriate. Divine secrets carry weight. They are not burdens, but they are not light either. They demand integrity. They require consistency. God is not asking for perfection. God is asking for sincerity. Understand this clearly. The secret is not about elevating you above others. It is about positioning you to serve with greater impact. When God entrusts a message to one person, it is often because many will eventually benefit from the obedience of that one. What God is doing in you is larger than you, but it begins with you. There will be moments when doubt whispers that you misunderstood, that you imagined this, that you are reaching too far. In those moments, return to the quiet certainty you felt when this truth first resonated within you. That certainty did not come from emotion, it came from recognition, something eternal recognized, something eternal within you. God is telling you that your life is not random, your struggles were not wasted, and your sensitivity is not weakness. The very things that made life difficult are the things that make you capable of receiving this secret. You feel deeply because you are meant to carry depth. You question because you are meant to understand truth beyond surface answers. Do not rush to explain this experience to others. Let it shape you first. Let it refine your choices, your priorities, your responses. Over time, people will notice the difference without you announcing it. Transformation speaks louder than testimony. God is not revealing everything at once because growth happens in stages. You do not need the full picture to take the next step. You only need clarity for the step in front of you. The secret unfolds through obedience, not observation. You are being invited to live with intention rather than impulse, with purpose rather than pressure. This will require you to say no to things that once excited you and yes to things that once intimidated you. That is not loss, that is alignment. God is telling you that the peace you are seeking will not come from certainty, but from trust. Certainty depends on information. Trust depends on relationship. And relationship is built through consistency, not control. As you move forward, you will notice a shift in what satisfies you. Things that once felt important will lose their urgency. Things that once seemed insignificant will gain weight. This is not confusion, this is recalibration. God is adjusting your internal compass. You may feel the urge to look back, to revisit old options, to keep backups, in case this path becomes difficult. God is telling you that divided focus weakens forward movement. Commitment is not restriction, it is empowerment. This secret is not fragile, but it is sacred. Treat it with respect, protect it from cynicism, nurture it through discipline, allow it to mature through patience. God entrusted it to you because you are capable of stewarding it. There will be moments of silence again. Do not interpret them as abandonment. Silence often means integration. What has been revealed needs time to settle, to root, to become part of you. God is closer than you think, not watching from a distance, but walking with intention. Every step you take in alignment strengthens your awareness. Every decision made in trust sharpens your clarity. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where preparation meets readiness. The secret is unfolding now because you are ready to carry it forward in action, in character, in consistency, in quiet confidence that does not need to announce itself, in steady obedience that continues even when the path is not fully illuminated, in trust that deepens with every step taken without applause, in faith that breathes through daily choices and ordinary moments, in alignment that becomes so natural it no longer feels like effort, in awareness that what God has begun within you is still moving, still shaping, still revealing itself layer by layer as you continue to listen, to respond, to move, to trust, to remain attentive to the quiet voice that first spoke when everything else was silent. Or God is telling you that the secret is not merely something to know, but something to live. Truth that remains in the mind fades, but truth that enters conduct becomes power. Many seek understanding so they can feel secure, yet God gives understanding so you can become faithful. The secret you are receiving is an invitation to step into a life where intention governs every choice and awareness shapes every reaction. This is not about dramatic moments. This is about disciplined devotion expressed through daily integrity. There are people who confuse inspiration with transformation. They feel stirred, but they do not move. They feel emotional, but they do not change. God is telling you that this secret is not meant to excite you temporarily. It is meant to reorder you permanently. If your habits do not shift, if your priorities do not realign, then the message has not yet taken root. God speaks so that life can follow. You have learned through pain and patience That strength does not always look loud. Often it looks like restraint. Often it looks like consistency when no one is watching. God is showing you that quiet obedience carries greater authority than public approval. When God trusts you with a secret, it is because God knows you are learning how to stand firm without being seen. This secret carries clarity about your inner life. God is revealing that many of your struggles were not external battles, but internal misalignments. You were fighting outcomes instead of addressing orientation. You were asking for change around you while God was shaping change within you. The secret is that when the inner direction is corrected, the outer path begins to straighten. God is telling you that your thoughts matter more than you realize. What you repeatedly entertain becomes what you eventually embody. That is why discipline of the mind is not optional, it is foundational. Guard what you dwell on, choose what you rehearse. God works through awareness, and awareness is shaped by attention. You may have noticed that your tolerance for dishonesty, both in others and in yourself, has diminished. This is not judgment, this is maturity. God is sharpening your discernment because what you are called to carry requires clarity. Compromise dulls perception. Integrity refines it. The secret is that discernment grows where integrity is honored. God is also revealing that your sensitivity is a strength when it is anchored in truth. Sensitivity without grounding leads to instability, but sensitivity guided by conviction leads to wisdom. You feel deeply because God wants you to respond thoughtfully. Emotion is not your enemy, unchecked. Reaction is. The secret is learning how to let feeling inform you without letting it control you. There will be moments when this path feels demanding. You may wonder why others seem free to live carelessly while you feel compelled to live deliberately. God is telling you that accountability is a sign of trust. Responsibility is evidence of capacity. You are not restricted, you are entrusted. God is calling you to consistency when enthusiasm fades. Anyone can move when motivation is high, but only those aligned with purpose remain steady when feelings fluctuate. The secret is that discipline outlasts inspiration. Commitment sustains what excitement initiates. You are being taught to listen beyond words, to patterns, to pauses, to what is not said. God often guides through subtle alignment rather than dramatic instruction. When your inner sense is clear, you will recognize direction even in ordinary circumstances. This is not mysticism, this is maturity. God is telling you that humility will protect this secret. Pride exposes what should be preserved. When you feel the urge to prove, to announce, to validate yourself through recognition, pause. Let your life speak. Let your choices testify. Truth does not need volume to remain true. You are also learning that boundaries are not walls, they are gateways. They determine what has access to your energy, your focus, your spirit. God is giving you permission to say no without guilt and yes without fear. The secret is that alignment sometimes requires distance from what once felt familiar. God is preparing you to walk without constant reassurance. Signs will not always accompany obedience. Sometimes the absence of confirmation is the test itself. Trust that has to be repeatedly validated has not yet matured. God is inviting you into trust that stands even when the path is quiet. You may feel an increasing desire for simplicity. Complexity drains clarity. God is refining your life by removing excess. Excess noise, excess obligation, excess distraction. This is not loss, this is focus. The secret is that clarity often comes through subtraction. God is also addressing your sense of identity. You are not defined by your productivity, your past, or your potential. You are defined by alignment with truth. When identity is stable, comparison loses its grip. The secret is that peace grows where identity is rooted. You are being trained to respond rather than react. Reaction is driven by impulse. Response is guided by understanding. God is slowing you down, not to delay you, but to deepen you. Wisdom moves at the speed of discernment, not urgency. There will be times when obedience feels inconvenient. It may interrupt plans, challenge assumptions, or require humility. God is telling you that inconvenience is often the cost of growth. Comfort maintains the familiar, obedience creates the future. You are learning that faith is not blind optimism. It is informed trust, grounded in awareness of God's consistency. You have seen guidance before. You have recognized protection before. You have experienced direction before. The secret is remembering those moments when uncertainty tries to speak louder than experience. God is reminding you that silence is not emptiness. Silence is space where alignment deepens. Do not rush to fill it. Let it teach you attentiveness. Let it sharpen your listening. God, F10 speaks most clearly when you stop demanding immediate answers. You're also being called to stewardship of influence. Even now, people observe you more than you realize. They watch how you handle pressure, how you speak when challenged, how you remain steady when outcomes are unclear. God is shaping you into a living message long before any words are spoken. The secret includes restraint, knowing when not to speak, when not to act, when to wait. Wisdom is not only about knowing what to do, it is about knowing when to do it. Timing gives truth its power. God is telling you that faithfulness in small decisions creates authority in larger ones. You are not being overlooked. You are being trained. Each moment of integrity strengthens your capacity for greater responsibility. Nothing done in alignment is wasted. You may feel moments of vulnerability as you release old certainties. That vulnerability is not weakness, it is openness. Growth requires openness. God cannot reshape what refuses to soften. The secret is that strength and openness are not opposites, they are partners. God is also revealing that gratitude is a stabilizing force. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned when circumstances fluctuate. It reminds you of what is present, not just what is desired. The secret is that gratitude sustains faith during transition. As you move forward, resist the urge to rush toward outcomes. Focus instead on faithfulness in process. Outcomes are results. Faithfulness is practice. God honors the practice because it shapes the person who can handle the result. You are learning to trust guidance that does not flatter you, direction that challenges you, truth that refines you. God speaks not to comfort your ego, but to strengthen your character. The secret is that growth often feels demanding before it feels rewarding. God is telling you that your future will require steadiness, not spectacle. Depth, not drama. Consistency, not intensity. You are being prepared for a life that sustains meaning over time, not just moments that impress. Let this understanding settle into your choices. Let it inform how you speak, how you listen, how you decide. You are not waiting for purpose to arrive. You are walking in preparation for it now. The secret continues to unfold as you remain attentive, responsive, grounded, and willing to live what has been revealed, allowing each step of obedience to deepen your alignment, strengthen your clarity, and carry you forward with quiet conviction into what God is shaping within and through you. God is drawing your attention to the difference between knowing about truth and standing within it. Many admire truth from a distance, but few allow it to confront them closely. The secret being shared with you is not designed to remain comfortable. It will question your assumptions, challenge your patterns, and invite you to release familiar ways of thinking that no longer align with who you are becoming. This is not loss, this is refinement. God refines what God intends to strengthen. You are being taught that faith is not passive acceptance, it is active alignment. It is choosing trust when evidence is incomplete, choosing integrity when shortcuts are available, choosing patience when haste promises quick relief. God is shaping your responses so that your life becomes consistent with the truth you claim to believe. Consistent. Why is where credibility is formed. God is revealing that the real battle is not against circumstances, but against distraction. Distraction fractures focus, and fractured focus weakens direction. That is why your attention has been repeatedly redirected inward. God is calling you to awareness, not awareness of fear, but awareness of purpose. Where your attention rests, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your life forms. You may sense that certain desires are losing their hold on you. What once felt urgent now feels empty. What once felt impressive now feels shallow. This is not boredom. This is discernment growing. God is recalibrating your desires so that what you pursue aligns with what truly sustains you. Desire guided by wisdom becomes devotion. God is telling you that strength is revealed through endurance. Anyone can begin, but few remain. Endurance is quiet, uncelebrated, and powerful. It is built through repeated obedience in ordinary moments. This is why God values faithfulness over flair. What lasts is rarely loud. There will be moments when you are tempted to measure yourself against others. Resist that temptation. Comparison distorts calling. God does not measure your life by another's assignment. What is required of you is not what is required of them. The secret is personal because the path is specific. God is also unveiling the importance of restraint in speech. Words carry weight long after they are spoken. Speak with intention, speak with care, speak only what aligns with truth and builds clarity. Silence, when chosen wisely, can protect direction more effectively than explanation. You are being trained to trust the process even when progress feels invisible. Roots grow in darkness before anything appears above ground. God is working beneath the surface, establishing stability that will later support visible growth. What you cannot yet see is not absent, it is forming. God is reminding you that obedience often requires releasing the need to be understood. Not everyone will recognize the wisdom of your choices. Some will misinterpret restraint as weakness, patience as hesitation, humility as lack of ambition. God is telling you to remain steady. Clarity within is more valuable than approval without. You are learning that fear often disguises itself as caution. While wisdom discerns risk, fear exaggerates it. God is sharpening your ability to tell the difference. Discernment listens calmly. Fear reacts urgently. The secret is learning to move forward without being driven by anxiety. God is shaping your inner dialogue. What you say to yourself matters. Speak with honesty, not harshness. Correction strengthens when it is truthful and compassionate. God does not motivate through condemnation, but through conviction that invites growth. You may feel moments of tension as old habits resist change. That resistance is evidence that transformation is underway. What is challenged is what is being replaced. God is not dismantling you. God is rebuilding you with intention. God is also teaching you the value of waiting without bitterness. Waiting becomes heavy when expectation turns into entitlement. But waiting guided by trust remains light because it rests on confidence rather than demand. The secret is learning to wait with hope instead of pressure. You are being called to a deeper sense of responsibility, not respo. Not stability that burdens, but responsibility that grounds. When your actions are guided by purpose, decision-making becomes clearer. God is aligning your sense of duty with your sense of meaning. God is telling you that growth requires honesty. Honest reflection opens the door to change. Denial delays it. Be willing to acknowledge where adjustment is needed. This is not self-criticism, this is self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of wisdom. You are learning that faith does not eliminate uncertainty, it teaches you how to stand within it. Uncertainty becomes less threatening when trust is strong. God is not removing every question. God is strengthening your ability to move without every answer. God is also revealing that gratitude transforms perspective. Gratitude does not deny difficulty, it reframes it. It reminds you that progress exists even when challenges remain. Gratitude keeps the heart steady during transition. You may notice a growing desire for alignment rather than achievement. Achievement satisfies temporarily. Alignment sustains deeply. God is guiding you toward a life where meaning outlasts recognition. The secret is choosing depth over display. God is preparing you to carry influence responsibly. Influence is not about being seen. It is about being consistent. People trust what is stable. God is shaping you into stability through faithfulness in unseen moments. You are being reminded that faith is lived, not declared. What you practice reveals what you believe. God is inviting you to let your life reflect your trust without the need for constant explanation. God is also teaching you that surrender is not defeat. It is cooperation with a greater wisdom. When you release control, clarity emerges. Resistance clouds direction, surrender clarifies it. You may feel moments of quiet joy, not excitement, but assurance. That assurance is the result of alignment. It is the peace that comes from knowing you are moving in the right direction, even when the destination is not yet visible. God is guiding you to remain teachable. Teachability keeps the heart open and the mind flexible. Growth slows when certainty becomes rigid. Humility keeps learning active. You are learning that obedience refines character. Each choice made in alignment strengthens integrity. Over time, integrity becomes instinct. That is how a life becomes trustworthy. God is telling you that what is unfolding within you is intentional, precise, and timely. This is not random growth. This is guided formation. Stay attentive, stay responsive, stay grounded. Let each decision reflect the awareness you are gaining, allowing the truth you are receiving to continue, shaping your direction, your conduct, your priorities, and your understanding as you walk forward in steady alignment with God's guidance, carrying the secret not as hidden knowledge, but as lived wisdom expressed through every step you take, every choice you make, and every moment you remain attentive to the quiet, unwavering direction that continues to unfold within you. God is drawing you into a deeper awareness of accountability, not the kind that creates fear, but the kind that awakens purpose. Accountability to truth sharpens intention. When you understand that every decision carries direction, you begin to move with care, not hesitation. God is teaching you that freedom is not the absence of structure. Freedom is the presence of alignment. When your choices reflect truth, your path gains stability. You are learning that conviction is formed through practice, not proclamation. What you consistently honor becomes what you eventually embody. God is shaping your inner compass so that right choices feel natural rather than forced. This is not conditioning, this is transformation. Truth, when lived, becomes instinct. God is revealing that wisdom often appears ordinary. It does not always arrive with intensity or urgency. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet nudge toward restraint, a calm invitation to pause, a gentle redirection that saves you from unnecessary struggle. Learn to recognize the calm guidance that does not demand attention but earns trust through consistency. You are being taught that growth requires courage. The courage to remain honest when it would be easier to perform. The courage to remain patient when progress feels slow. The courage to remain kind when frustration would justify harshness. God is cultivating a strength within you that does not rely on force but on steadiness. God is also unveiling the importance of stewardship over time. Time reveals priorities more accurately than words. Where you invest your attention reflects what you value. God is helping you realign your time so that it supports what truly matters. This is not about doing more, it is about doing what aligns. You may notice that your tolerance for chaos is diminishing. Disorder drains clarity. God is guiding you toward order, not rigidity, but intentional structure that supports growth. Order creates space for peace. Peace creates space for wisdom. God is reminding you that truth does not compete, it remains. You do not need to defend alignment with aggression or prove it through comparison. Let truth stand on its own. Over time, stability reveals its strength. You are learning that endurance builds trust. Trust within yourself and trust from others. When your responses remain steady through change, people sense reliability. God is shaping you into someone whose presence brings clarity rather than confusion. God is also teaching you the value of restraint in reaction. Not every challenge requires immediate response. Sometimes wisdom waits for understanding to mature before action is taken. Impulsive reaction satisfies urgency. Thoughtful response honors truth. You are being guided to release the need to control outcomes. Control creates tension. Trust creates flow. God is not asking you to disengage from responsibility, but to release the illusion that everything depends on you. Responsibility guided by trust becomes sustainable. God is sharpening your awareness of intention. Why you do something matters as much as what you do. Actions driven by fear exhaust. Actions driven by purpose endure. The secret is allowing intention to be shaped before action is taken. You may feel moments of internal resistance as you outgrow familiar patterns. That resistance is natural. Growth stretches identity before it settles into maturity. God is patient with this process, and you are being invited to extend that patience to yourself. God is also reminding you that listening is an act of humility. When you listen fully, without preparing your response, you create space for understanding. Understanding deepens connection. Connection strengthens alignment. And you are learning that discernment requires stillness. Noise blurs perception. God is drawing you toward moments of quiet, not as escape, but as alignment. In stillness, truth becomes clearer because distraction loses influence. God is revealing that consistency in small actions forms the foundation for greater responsibility. You are not being overlooked. You are being entrusted with preparation. What you practice now shapes what you can carry later. You are being taught that faithfulness includes care for your inner life. Guard your thoughts, your motivations, your attitudes. Neglecting the inner life weakens outer action. God values integrity that begins within. God is also guiding you to recognize when to persist and when to release. Persistence without discernment becomes strain. Release without understanding becomes avoidance. Wisdom balances both. You may feel an increasing desire to simplify, not because life lacks depth, but because depth thrives without excess. God is helping you distinguish between what is necessary and what is merely familiar. God is reminding you that growth often happens quietly. Do not underestimate subtle change. Small adjustments made consistently alter direction over time. This is how transformation sustains itself. You are being called to embody patience that does not grow resentful. Patience rooted in trust remains steady because it is not waiting for permission to hope. God is strengthening your capacity to remain open without becoming weary. God is shaping your understanding of strength. Strength is not dominance, it is reliability. It is the ability to remain grounded when circumstances shift. It is the ability to choose clarity over chaos. You are learning that integrity simplifies decision-making. When values are clear, choices become lighter. God is aligning your values so that hesitation decreases and clarity increases. God is also revealing that humility keeps growth active. When you remain open to learning, refinement continues. Certainty that refuses reflection limits wisdom. God invites continual awareness. You may notice that your reactions are slowing, becoming more measured. This is not loss of passion. This is maturation of understanding. God is teaching you to act from conviction rather than impulse. God is reminding you that trust deepens through experience. Each moment of alignment reinforces confidence. Over time, trust becomes less about feeling and more about knowing. You are being prepared to walk with steadiness rather than urgency, with awareness rather than assumption, with purpose rather than pressure. Let this unfolding continue to shape your responses, your priorities, your relationships, and your sense of direction as you remain attentive to the guidance that continues to form within you, allowing each moment of obedience to strengthen clarity, deepen understanding, and sustain the quiet, resolute alignment that God continues to cultivate in you without haste, without noise, without end. Now hear this with the full weight of your heart open and your spirit attentive. God has not brought you this far to leave you unchanged. This moment is not accidental. It is an invitation. God is calling you to stop standing at the edge of awareness and step fully into alignment. Do not admire truth from a distance. Embrace it with action. Do not carry conviction only in thought. Carry it in how you live, how you choose, how you respond when no one is watching. Examine your life honestly. Look at where your time goes, where your attention rests, where your energy is spent. Ask yourself not what feels comfortable, but what feels true. God is not asking you to become someone else. God is asking you to become fully who you were meant to be. Release what weakens your clarity. Lay down what pulls you away from purpose. Choose integrity even when it costs you ease, because what costs you ease often gives you strength. Let this be the moment you stop postponing obedience. Stop waiting for perfect conditions, perfect confidence, perfect clarity. God meets movement, not delay. Take the step that aligns with truth, even if your voice trembles while you ache it. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to trust God more than fear. Renew your purpose by renewing your attention. Turn your heart back toward what matters eternally. Let gratitude ground you. Let humility guide you. Let patience shape you. Walk with awareness that every ordinary choice carries sacred weight when made in alignment with God. Draw closer, not with noise, not with performance, but with sincerity. Walk steadily, even quietly, knowing that God sees what others do not. Remain faithful when results are unseen. Remain grounded when recognition is absent. This is where true strength is formed. Carry this truth with reverence. When you walk in alignment, your life becomes a living answer to questions others have not yet learned how to ask. Let your steps reflect trust. Let your choices reflect clarity. Let your life reflect the quiet, unshakable confidence of one who knows they are walking with God.